Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and this is why most people overpay for cars. Not because they picked the wrong car, but because they picked the obvious one. They walked onto a lot, they scroll listings, and immediately filter down to the same three options: Civic, Corolla, Camry, maybe an Accord if they're feeling bold. And just like that, they're competing with everyone else in the market, which drives up prices and limits inventory and forces them into whatever's left. Meanwhile, sitting right next to those cars are options that are just as reliable, just as cheap to run, and even better. Shh, don't tell anybody I told you this. Because nobody ends up touching them because they don't have the right reputation. They don't have the right hype. They don't have the brand recognition, and that is exactly why they are cheap. So today, we're flipping the script. These are 5 cheap cars everyone ignores. But if you actually understand what you're looking at, these things are absolute gold mines. Like, subscribe, and let's go. Yeah, we're starting controversial because if you know anything about cars, you've heard the horror stories: transmission failures, jerky shifting, class action lawsuits. The Ford Focus became the poster child for what not to buy. And honestly, that reputation is deserved. For one version of the car from 2012 to 2016, Ford used something called the power shift transmission. It was basically a dual clutch setup that tried to act like an automatic and completely failed. We're talking hesitation, shuddering, premature failure, and just an overall miserable ownership experience. So what happened? The entire market said, never buy a Focus, and walked away. But here's where things get interesting, because the Focus existed before that disaster. And those cars are actually really solid. 2008 to 2011 Focus, simple 4-cylinder engine, traditional automatic transmission, no experimental tech, no weird engineering decisions, just a basic commuter car. That was built to do one thing: start every day and not cost you money. These cars routinely go well over 200,000 miles with basic maintenance. Parts are cheap, repairs are simple, and because the newer models destroyed the reputation, the older ones got dragged down with them, which means you can find these for next to nothing. $4,000, $5,000, sometimes less. And that's the opportunity, because the market doesn't separate bad version from good version. It just labels the entire car as bad. And when that happens, you can step in, buy the right one, and win. Yo guys, quick pause because this is super important. The giveaway is live right now, and we're giving away this fully built, dripping in carbon Supra, 4 months in the making. And guys, it is the Tuner Hero spec, plus a Shelby GT350 with an exhaust that sounds absolutely ridiculous. So if you want to win, you've got a decision to make. Do you get the JDM Legend, or do you get the American Icon? And guys, for a limited time, every purchase that you make on the site, which is pinned in the first comment down below, you get 2,000 bonus entries to win one of these cars, plus bonus cash, hat, shirt, entry pack. It don't matter. That's 2,000 extra chances on top. And Rocky from New York grabbed a quick entry pack last time and walked away with a GTR plus bonus cash. So yeah, it definitely happens, and we're running it back with 2 cars. So which one you picking? Let me know in the comments down below, and go get entered as well. And good skill. Number 4, Volkswagen Passat. This is one of the most misunderstood cars in the entire used market, because when people hear Volkswagen, they think 2 things: German and expensive, which leads to the assumption unreliable. But here's the reality: especially the US built models from around 2012 to 2019, is one of the most straightforward sedans Volkswagen ever made, and that was intentional. VW knew they needed something to compete directly with the Camry and Accord. So they simplified everything: less complexity, more durability, lower cost to own. And it worked. But nobody cared because it wasn't exciting. It didn't have the GTI hype. It didn't have Audi branding. It was just a big, comfortable, boring sedan, and that killed it in the new market. But in the used market, that's exactly what you want, because boring means predictable. Predictable means reliable, and reliable means cheap ownership. The Passat gives you tons of interior space, comfortable ride, and engines that, if maintained properly, can go the distance. And here's the key advantage: price. These things depreciate hard, way harder than an Accord or Camry. So you end up with a car that does the same job for significantly less money. And for most people, that's all that matters. Number 3, Mazda 3. This is where things start to get really interesting, because Mazda is in a weird spot. They build genuinely great cars, but they don't have the brand power of Toyota or Honda, so they get overlooked. constantly. And the Mazda 3 is the perfect example, because if you actually drive one, you immediately realize something. This doesn't feel like a cheap economy car. The steering is better, the handling is sharper, the interior feels more premium, and the overall experience is just more enjoyable. But people don't shop based on experience, they shop based on reputation. And Mazda, for a long time, was seen as second tier, even though that's not true anymore, especially with the Sky Active engines. These engines were designed with one goal: efficiency without sacrificing durability. No unnecessary complexity, no fragile turbo setups in the base models, just a well-engineered, naturally aspirated engine that can go well past 200,000 miles with proper care. And here's where it becomes a gold mine, because the average buyer doesn't know that. They see Mazda and assume it's less reliable than Honda or Toyota, so they skip it, which keeps prices down and gives you an opportunity to buy a car that is just as dependable, way more fun to drive, and often thousands cheaper than a Civic. That's not a small difference. That's a completely different buying strategy. Number 2, Toyota Avalon. This is the biggest cheat code on this entire list, because it completely breaks the way people think about Toyota. Everyone knows Toyota is reliable. That's not the secret. The secret is which Toyota you buy, because while everyone is fighting over Camrys, the Avalon just sits there, ignored, and it makes no sense, because the Avalon is basically Toyota building a Lexus and putting a Toyota badge on it. Same philosophy, same engineering, same obsession with longevity. We're talking about cars that regularly go 200,000, 300,000 miles with nothing more than basic maintenance, oil changes, fluids, that's it. And yet, the Avalon depreciates faster than the Camry. Why? Image. That's it. It's seen as a retirement car, something your grandparents would drive, not something you want to be seen in. Because of that, demand drops, prices drop, and suddenly you can buy a better car for less money, more space, better ride quality, quieter interior, same legendary reliability, and all you have to do is get over what other people think. This is one of those decisions where, if you're smart, you ignore the perception and focus on the reality, because the reality is this is one of the best values in the entire used car market. Number 1, Kia Optima. This is where most people get it wrong, because they're still thinking about Kia from 15 years ago. Cheap, disposable, not built to last, but that version of Kia does not exist anymore. Modern Kia, especially mid-2000s and newer, completely different story. And the Optima is the perfect example of that shift, because it offers something most other cars on this list don't. Value through depreciation. Kia loses value faster than Toyota or Honda. That's just a fact, but depreciation is not always bad. In fact, for a used buyer, it's exactly what you want, because it means you can buy a newer car with more features for less money. We're talking things like modern infotainment, backup cameras, heated seats, better interiors, stuff that you usually have to pay more for in other brands. And yes, you have to be smart about which engines and years you choose. Every manufacturer has problem areas, but if you do even a little bit of research, you can avoid those and end up with a car that delivers way more than what you paid for it. That's the key. You're not chasing the brand, you're chasing the value. And Kia, because of its reputation, gives you more of that than almost anything else. And here's what all of this comes down to. The used car market is not rational, it's emotional. People buy what they recognize, what they've heard of, what feels safe, and that creates inefficiency. Cars get overpriced, not because they're better, but because they're popular. And others, well, they get ignored, not because they're worse, but because nobody is paying attention. And that gap, that disconnect, that's where the opportunity absolutely is, because if you're willing to think differently, if you're willing to look past the badge and actually understand what you're buying, you can save thousands of dollars and end up with a car that does everything you need without overpaying for hype. That's how you win. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit the subscribe button, because we're just getting started. And let me know in the comments down below, would you buy one of these or would you buy something else? And remember to go to Win This Ideal Car to get entered to win both of my dream cars, plus bonus cash. Like, subscribe, check out some of these ideal vids, and promise me one thing: keep living the ideal lifestyle.